How's it getting on, boys? And welcome to the 9th episode of the HeavyNFLD Podcast. I apologize if I sound like I'm a bit under the weather, and that will be because I am. I'm pretty sure I caught the flu from my roommate, but that's how she goes. Got a good show lined up for you tonight. Now, I know that I've been absent for a while, and that's something that I figure anyone who listens to this has probably come to expect by this point. I feel like Sam Sutherland, the guy who runs the show This Exists on YouTube, making promises that I can't keep about the regularity of when these episodes come out. And that's not throwing shade on Sam. I really like the guy, but it's just the way that show has gone, and it's the way that this podcast has gone too. So I do apologize for that, but I think you guys are used to it. Anyway, I got a great show lined up for you tonight because we have a bunch of bands that I'm showing on this right now that aren't from Newfoundland or Labrador. They're from out of province. And it's made me realize something with thinking about this podcast and the purpose of HeavyNFLD in general, which is to highlight bands from Newfoundland. But being in Montreal has made me realize just how many underground bands there are in all of Eastern Canada that really deserve to have their music out there. And that goes for Newfoundland as well as Nova Scotia, Prince Edward Island, New Brunswick, and even here in Quebec. Because I think, Quebec is considered part of Eastern Canada. And there are bands from Montreal and from other parts, from other parts in this province that do go down to Newfoundland occasionally. And we're going to show some of them here tonight in this episode. But without further ado, we're going to get things started with a death metal band from Montreal who are named after a song by Bathory, at least I think. They're called Crosstitution, and the name of this song is Piece of Shit. Alright, so again, that was Piece of Shit by Crosstitution from up here in Montreal. I really, am kind of disappointed at the fact that I'm not going to get to see these guys live in Newfoundland in November at November Mayhem at the Rock House, which is amazing that they're playing there. But given the fact that they're from here in Montreal, then there should be an opportunity for me to see them at some point. There is an amazing metal scene here in this city. Montreal, I feel, is probably the most metal city in the entire country. I mean, there's a reason why most touring bands who come from the States or from Europe end up playing here, especially, and we have Heavy Montreal too, which, if I may add, I went to that over this past summer, as some of you listening to this probably know, and holy shit, it was fucking amazing. But I'll talk about that later in the episode. For now, I want to go back to the local shit from back home. And in keeping with the theme of brutality and death metal, we have a song from the new death metal solo project from Adam Sharr, the guy from Luminance, and who was also in Nightbreed, and he also has another project called Oxygen Chapel. He's very prolific, and everything that he puts out, I end up really liking a lot. He also has another project called Moa Secretion, which is like anime-inspired grindcore, which is really fucking cool. But anyway, he has a new death metal project, and it's called Imbrued Sediments. This is a song from the new demo released by this project, and it's called Angelic Barbarism. Alright, so again, that was Angelic Barbarism by Imbrued Sediments. And keeping the theme going, we're going to keep the death metal rolling right along here. I'm going to include a song from an old death metal band. Well, I guess I shouldn't say old, but they've been around for a while, and I think they're one of the more well-known metal bands from Newfoundland. And I guess they play a style that's more like melodic death metal, in line with Amon Marth and Deathclock and stuff like that. This is a band called Deadgaard, which most of you guys have definitely heard of before. And they recently just came back from a tour that they were doing to support a new split EP. I guess it's a split album that they did with Orchid's Curse from Nova Scotia, which is a really good release. I liked all the songs on that. I thought that both bands really killed it in both of their sections on this split. I would highly recommend that you check out this release. It's called Graveyard of the Gulf, and each band has 4 songs. And it's just a really, really solid piece of death metal meets, I guess, really, really heavier hardcore. I don't really know what to call Orchid's Curse. Their genre is kind of hard to nail down. But anyway, this is a song from that EP by Deadgaard, and it is called Nightfall. Alright, so that was Nightfall by Deadgaard, and we're going to move on to some other out-of-province bands right now to go to another one who's going to be performing at November Mayhem at the Rock House this, obviously this November. They're called Outlyrs, and they kind of describe their sound as a mixture of influences from Black Sabbath, Rage Against the Machine, and Metallica. Now, on this song that I'm going to play for you, you can really hear the Metallica influence in the chorus, with the vocals especially, and you can also kind of hear where they're coming from with the whole like Rage Against the Machine thing, especially when it comes to the bass. But I'm also hearing a lot of like West Coast sludge there, you know, like the Melvins and stuff from out that way, like almost like a desert rock kind of sound that sort of bleeds into their music. I would best describe it as sort of like the Melvins meets Metallica, and maybe throw in a bit of Primus as well, strangely enough. But that's kind of the vibe I get from it, not with this particular song, but with the album that they've put out as a whole, which is a self-titled release. They just put it out this past February, and you can check that out on their Bandcamp. And I really like how on their Bandcamp they say, for best results, play at maximum volume, which really harkens back to Motorhead's slogan of everything louder than everything else. So, without further ado, this is Under Your Spell by Outlyrs.
A person who thinks all the time has nothing to think about except thoughts. He loses touch with reality and lives in a world of illusions. Time to wake up.
Alright, so that was, again, Under Your Spell by Outlyrs. And next up, we have another band from out of province who are also playing at November Mayhem this year, and they are called Lionsault from New Brunswick. At least I think that's how their name's pronounced. And it kind of keeps in theme with what I mentioned for the previous band, with having this kind of stoner rock influence over their sound, though they do build themselves as more of just a rock / just rock and roll outfit. And this is a song that they put out last year, actually, on Halloween, which is fitting for the title of the song, which is Witch Hunt. Alright, so that was Witch Hunt by Lionsault. And up next, I'm going to play these next two tracks back to back, actually, just because I think they kind of fit well together. They're both from bands from Montreal. The first is Funk Sluts by sort of a hard rock band, I guess you could call them. They're called Mars on Water. And I went out to one of their shows recently, and they fucking kicked ass. Like, really, really good performers, really good stage show, so very enjoyable. If you get a chance to go see them, highly recommend it. The next is Old Lady at the Window by Pink Cocoon, which are also a fucking awesome live band. Saw them recently too, and yeah, they kicked fucking ass as well. So yeah, without further ado, Mars on Water, Pink Cocoon.
talking to me. She sits there reading the news, hoping that she'll play the blues. You're telling me, one of the days she'll see, sitting alone by the fire, one to find her desire, wandering thoughts in her mind, maybe she isn't too kind. You're telling me, one of the days she'll see, the elderly, they see the destruction that something to say. I know she cannot find a way. The night she's been thinking of you, casting a strange voodoo. She's trying her best, she's playing the game, but you're all the same. Run, little boy, you're alone. Oh, can you find your way home? Trying to call out your name, oh, you ignore, such a shame. She's trying her best, she's playing the game, but you're all the same. The young lady, I see you at the window inside. She knows, she knows, she knows, she knows that you're mine. She wants to go outside, but there's nothing that praises her life. So what can you do? She'll sit alone and die. She's trying her best, she's playing the game, but you're all the same. Don't want to insist, she cannot resist. Wants to help you enjoy life.
right, so again, that was Funk Sluts by Mars on Water and Old Lady at the Window by Pink Cocoon. And that's actually going to be it for tonight. We have one song left for you, and it's actually by one of my own projects. It's a new one that I just recently started because I'm a massive geek and I fucking love the Elder Scrolls games, and I really want to make black metal based on the Elder Scrolls games for some reason. That's just something that I decided to do. So this new project is called Cult of Azura. It's different from the other shit that I do, like Mistwalker and that other stuff. And this is one of 2 songs that I've done for it so far that I released on the demo, and it's called Red Year. Alright, folks, that's it. Thanks for tuning in. Appreciate it a lot. Hope you enjoyed tonight's lineup of songs. I know that I sure did, because I've seen most of these bands live at this point. And, yeah, other than that, I'm your host, Akhenaten, once again, signing off. See you in November.